here, and I have way too many. Oh, those are Chrome tabs. I don't want a Chrome tab. I want a window, and I want this one, I think. Okay, share. Yeah, I'm sharing. So just to give some background, I was with Linux Journal from the point that Linux hit 1.0 in 1994 through the point where it was finally sold in 2019, and much of that as editor-in-chief. So I had a lot to do actually with the promulgation of open source, with making Linux a thing, as a journalist, though, not as a hacker at all. The only code I know is Morse, and that's a kind of a shortcoming, but it tells you how long I've been around. In 1999, I co-wrote a book called The Clue Train Manifesto. That's the original on the left. That's the 10th anniversary thing on the right. The word clue train is now, tweeted some number of times a day, 25 years later, and it had a lot of influence, but not as much as some other things that have come since. One is the Internet Identity Workshop that started in 2005. And I've been around Internet identities since really the late 90s. And that also came out of the work with Linux Journal. We just had the last one, Toby just reviewed that. So that started in 2005. Project VRM started in 2006. That's the top of our webpage. And based on work there, Project VRM is basically, all of us know about CRM, customer relationship management. The idea with VRM is that we as customers should be in charge of our relationships rather than just records. CRM really is customer records management. We really want to be in charge of our retail relationships. That gave rise to a book called The Intention Economy. That's the actual cover on the left, which I never liked. And that's one of the ones that we rejected on the right. So if we come out with a second edition, maybe we'll use that one. And this was kind of a worse seller as a book, except I found out last summer that Tim Berners-Lee read it, liked it a lot, and started the Solid project based on it. So if you're going to have one reader, he's the guy. And somewhere in there also, we created Customer Commons as both a place where we can store our own terms that we'll select the terms that we want to assert or proffer with companies. I'll go into that a little deeper in a minute, but not very deep. But anyway, we formed that in 2013, 2014. And now I want to get to personal AI and kind of where I come from on personal AI. I really love what, and I shared this at the summit, at the Kwaai summit. I love what Sam Waltman said. We believe that AI will be about individual empowerment and agency at a scale we've never seen before, and it will elevate humanity to a scale we've never seen before either. What I said then, and I still believe, is that he can't do it. We have to do it ourselves. And this is what I got Microsoft to create for me for what personal AI is. But that's the slide that I showed before. But I want to go into something that came up at IIW, which is that almost everybody developing in the personal space now wants to start with an app on a phone. And a problem with an app on a phone is that all our data is trapped in a bunch of different silos, and it's not really ours. The place where we can integrate and deal with our data, that's our data and our lives, is really on our computers still. So we're more in the personal computing era still about that. And as evidence of that, wallets were a giant topic at IIW. And here are the wallets in my phone. I just copied that out this morning. You'll note that all but one of them needs to be downloaded in order to be used. I don't use any of them except for the Apple one, and it is really minimal. But there was a session at IIW where Apple was in the house along with Google in the house talking about how they're going to work together in Fido tunnels or something like that. I wasn't in it, but basically Europe is forcing cooperation between those two companies. But that doesn't mean that the walled gardens within your phone get integrated. They probably won't. So I want to tell you about what we're doing with P7012, which is a standard for machine-readable personal privacy terms, that a working group that I chair at the IEEE has been gestating forever, it seems. It was actually been 7 years. But it's how a person, not just a user or consumer or what the EU calls a data subject, takes the lead in a consent ceremony and online, which is we're the first parties, they're the second parties, they agree to our terms. And it looks kind of like this. You have an agent on your side. That's your personal AI, perhaps. It may just be your browser. It's totally a green field here. The entity on the other side can accept or reject it, but identical copies are stored on both sides. How that happens matters less than the vector of action here, which is from us to them, with them agreeing to us, which the internet was built for. And those terms will live at Customer Commons, much as the licenses for copyright live at Creative Commons. That's the model. So I want to go to my vision of personal AI, because I thought about this, and this is the very same slide. And you have a personal AI, and it correlates and hangs together, or not, all these different things, not just shopping, but your business relationships, your subscriptions, including all this, what I call the screwage that's involved in subscriptions, because they're all trying to game you, your past, present, and future work, all your contacts, all your healthcare providers and records, your property, what you own, what you did own, where it was, travel, which is not just like, hey, I'm going on a vacation, but rather, where was I last Thursday at 4 o'clock? I mean, the police have this information. Your phone company has this information. Google has this information. You don't. That kind of stuff, the crumb trails we leave in our lives are important to us, and we should be in charge of those. And getting those out of companies is going to be a really interesting challenge. Our financial records and our schedules and stuff like that. So to me, it's the personal side, the internal side of personal AI that in many ways matters more than how we interact with the marketplace. And I want to talk about that a tiny bit, which is, I have seen so many startups start out working for you and me on helping us with our lives, and then make money on a B2B way. And I'm not going to knock Gather. Gather gave a great talk. Their CEO came in. That was good of him to do at VRM Day, the day before IW. And frankly, I don't think it read the room very well. Got some good pushback, but let on that their business model is to give free to you, and then they make their money in a B2B way. And that is the path that these things tend to follow. I've seen dozens of companies start in personal fill in the blank, and then it turns into, we're going to work on the business side, and we're not, and you are just consumers out there. We'll be good to you. We'll give you freebies, but it's not, you're not in charge of it. And we give them some pretty strong feedback on that. And I did, especially that, I said, speaking for the marketplace, I want to pay you. And I think we want to pay for services here. For gosh sakes, we're paying for too many subscriptions as it is. So that's kind of my angle on it. And these are contact things about me. I'm not hard to find. Just look me up, and I'm all over the place. So that's basically it. I'll unshare and hope that summarizes enough.
Okay, so back to you, Debbie. But before we go back, look, while we are welcoming new members, and I have to say we've broken through 300, so we looks like we're doubling every quarter. We're definitely not growing at a linear rate. We'll definitely blow through our 1,000 member target before the end of the year. While we're welcoming members, we should recognize that this is a volunteer organization. People come and people go. So this week we had the resignation of Brittany. Brittany steps down as a board member. But look, the board expires actually at the end of May. We are going to be electing a new board from June 12 onwards. In fact, we'll run elections in May. The other notable resignation is Matt Small. Thank you, Matt, so much for all of your hard work in getting Kwaai to where it is today, your organizational efforts and so on. This is very important, appreciated. It's a volunteer organization. People come and people go, and many people have day jobs. And so we're grateful for the time, your tired hours. If you're between jobs, this is where you should come, spend a tour of duty. You will end up richer for it. You'll feel good about yourself, and you'll learn and you'll network. And look, I posted up on the job opportunity channel, I posted a job list of over 100 jobs with their with the LinkedIn address of the job owner of the the hiring manager. So look, it's a community, it's a development community. We're going to do good. And let me get off my high horse now and introduce Ted Cohen. Excellent.
I just want to say a quick thank you for that comment, Riza. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to still be involved and connected to the group here. And thank you very much for all the kind words, folks.
Thanks so much, Matt. Stay involved, stay an observer, and we'd welcome you back when you're ready. Okay.
I already let Matt know he wasn't getting off that easy. So
I'll be around. I'll be around.
Great. Okay, so we are now gonna and Ted, if you're just speaking, that's great. If you got something to present, then I can make you a.
I'm just speaking.
Okay, great. Okay, let's do that then.
And it's not going to be 10 minutes. I kept telling Ray I didn't want to do 10 minutes, but he's got me down for 10 minutes. I'll start. I don't know if you want to introduce me because I'm terrible at introducing myself.
Yeah. So Ted.
Explain why I'm here, because you may wonder why I'm here. Because I'm in the presence of giants here, so
okay.
I'm trying to find a step ladder right now to get up to, so I can, I'm a big fan of Doc's and other people on here, so it's just great to be in your company. I've known Reza for about 10 years.
Yeah, indeed. You consigliere. I like that term. The consigliere of startups for that I've been involved in. You open doors. You were very generous with your Rolodex. You made things happen, and Ted is a giant in the music industry, and but an advocate for artists' rights, and especially in this current era where AI comes along and it's another tool that could potentially expropriate the rights of artists. So Ted, thank you so much for staying a friend and being an artist. Okay, and the other thing is, Ted, I don't know if you still live there, but if you've ever been to the Hollywood Bowl, and you look up high up in the hills, you see this property overlooking the bowl.
No, I'm downtown in a loft now. It's a long story, but we'll go into it later.
Great.
I met Reza when he was working with a company called Zaya with the Serletic brothers. They had a music creation tool that created music videos using avatars with sound clips from well-known artists like Bon Jovi and Lady Gaga and Elton John. But really quickly, just give you a little bit of history. I started out in artist development at Warner Records in the 70s. And my job was I was assigned to baby bands to go out on their first tours. And as opposed to what you normally think of somebody from the record company, my job was not to go backstage after the show and tell them how good they were. My job was to go on the tour, on their first tours, to say, wasn't too good tonight. In the case of David Lee Roth from Van Halen, you talk too much. In the case of David Byrne, please say something. I did the first 6 years of Van Halen, the first 5 years of Prince, the first 4 years of Talking Heads, first 3 years of Pretenders. I worked with Fleetwood Mac for 10 years. Right when just before Stevie and Lindsay joined the band. So watched it go. These were all station wagon tours. And then they became all these acts became big. And it was my job to continually keep their head on straight. I will tell you, out of the 200 artists I worked with, the only artist I never had any suggestions for was Prince. Literally every night, from the first day I saw him in Minneapolis at First Avenue till through the Purple Rain tour, all I could say every night was, wow. I mean, literally, if there ever was a human being who knew what he wanted to do, it was, and how to do it, it was Prince. No, Doc, Fleetwood Mac, loved Fleetwood Mac, but I would tell them, the show is indulgent. We don't need a I mean, Mick is great, but a 15-minute drum solo is a good chance to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I did the Sex Pistols tour. I'm wearing, this is Martin Atkins, who was the drummer in Public Image Limited. This is his museum. I will try, I'm not going to stand up. I'll sort of stand up. It's called the Punk and Industrial Music Museum in Chicago. You should go there if you get a chance. In the late 70s, I was in Chicago. I'm going to use the 10 minutes. In the late 70s, I was in Chicago for CES when it used to be in Chicago. And I talk about serendipity. I ended up in a hotel room at the Drake Hotel on Michigan Avenue. I was there with a company, Advent, who made amazing speakers. And they had just come out with a big screen TV. And I was there with the guy who had bought the company from Henry Kloss, who was the K and KLH and Acoustic Research and later Cambridge Soundworks. The guy who bought the company was a guy named Peter Sprague. His father owned National Semiconductor. And he was a trust fund, not baby, but he was a trust fund kid. He liked things. So he liked Advent speakers, so he bought Advent. He liked Aston Martin, so he bought Aston Martin, not the car, the company. But I ended up becoming friends with him, and he invited me to come to Chicago to CES, and I'm in his hotel room where they've set up a home theater to show the Advent Video Beam television, the first really widely recognized home video projector. And these two homeless guys walk in looking really like street guys in jeans and T-shirts, and they have a little brown zipper case. And they open it up and they go, "This is the Apple I computer. It's going to change the world." So I met Steve and Woz, and that began a friendship with Woz over the years. Steve was a little harder to be friends with, but I'll be respectful. But Warner owned Atari. Warner owned Atari. And I started hanging out with the folks at Atari and ended up becoming the liaison between the Warner Music Group and Atari, looking at when the CD came out in 83, this is 82, we had this group looking at what interactive media would be once the CD was the format of how music was distributed. So the group was a guy named Bob Stein, who went on to do Voyager, Voyager Criterion video products, and a guy that you all know that I had to explain to people who he was, Alan Kay, who created the GUI, the visual interface. I transitioned to working with startups. Startups are like baby bands. It's the same issues. It's the same growing pains. Anyway, at every point, going back to, I'll jump around. I loved, when I first saw hyperlinks, I've got to tell you, I loved it because it's, I think, how all our minds work. We start out somewhere in a main menu and then we jump all over the place and then go back to the main menu. I went to school at Ithaca College in Ithaca, New York. And one day, again, serendipitously, somebody walked up to me and said, "Come to the music hall tonight at the music school. There's guys going to be there." And I go to this thing, and a person who talks slower than Ben Stein and Ferris Bueller was on stage, and he goes, "Good evening. My name is Robert Moog. I'd like to show you my new creation, the Moog synthesizer." I mean, it was the slowest talking human being ever, but he was showing the first version of the Moog synthesizer. Of course, at the time, musicians were going, "Oh, synthesizer is going to kill music creation." It empowered it. Later, we had sequencers. We have ARP and sequential circuits and all these companies that have come along. Lynn Drum Machine, the Fairlight, all of these creations were looked at by the existing community as something that empowered people that shouldn't be empowered. Some of the best music that's come out in the last 10, 15 years have been empowered by these tools. I don't know, anybody can, by show of hands, if you saw 60 Minutes when Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother, showed how they put a song together. and how many tracks they use, and how many, basically there were, forget 24 track, whatever, there were probably 100 tracks on this timeline, and how they edited them together to create what they referred to as a record recorded in a bedroom. All of these tools have widened the opportunity for people who maybe don't play guitar or don't know how to play a keyboard to create music. Now AI comes along, and we have that same FUD, that same fear that AI assisted music creation tools are going to make musicians irrelevant. It won't. It will empower some people. It will widen the tent. People, I have proved by trying to using, there was a tool from TikTok called, I have it on my iPhone, I can go look. They had their music creation tool, I'm blanking on it, but it's not Udio, I forget what it is. I hummed some melodies into this TikTok music creation tool. It came back with some terrible music. So if you don't know what you're doing, it's not going to save you. But if you have an idea, you know, there are various tools out there right now. And what I have been evangelizing to the digital music community and to indie artists and to startup, this is terrible. I'm hanging up on, if anybody knows who this person is, wait, Robert Margouleff. I don't know if you can see that. He produced Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions, The Music of My Mind. I'll have to tell him later I couldn't take the call right now. The tools that's out there, there's some amazing stuff. And there, and by the way, Robert Margouleff, if you're not familiar, look him up on his Wikipedia. He produced Stevie Wonder and Devo and the Doobie Brothers. I mean, he's a very prolific music producer. What I'm trying to get across in a very inarticulate way, and it's hard to follow Doc, is there's nothing to fear here. It's like, you know, Roosevelt, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. The tools are going to empower people. There is a lot of clutter. We went from a distribution economy to an attention economy to, as Doc refers to, an intention economy. Yes, there are probably 100,000 songs uploaded to Spotify every day, but people will find the quality will rise. It's imperative that the artist is involved in creating his audience, not leaving it up to other people. But if they do that, good music will rise to the top. And it's just, it gets really frustrating when people go, well, now AI can eliminate the need, for what I do. There was a story last night on one of the newsletters that SAG was investigating whether Netflix used AI to create photos for a documentary, basically manufacturing images for a documentary. Every photos have been retouched, have been photoshopped for years. It's another level of tools. I don't know, Reza, if there's anything you want to say about what I said, so that it sounds like there was a point to all this. I just literally am intimidated by the audience I'm speaking to. I will tell you one other story. I got invited in August of 2006 to speak at the Aspen Institute. And I get there and I go to the opening cocktail party and I look around the room and I walked up to a guy named Firestone. I'm blanking on his first name, but I walked up to him and I said, I have one question. I said, dessert or coffee? And he said, what do you mean? I said, am I here to serve dessert or am I here to serve coffee? He goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, unless you've hired doubles, that's Madeline Albright over there. That's Craig Newmark from Craigslist. That's Reed Hunt from the FCC. That's Chris Sacca from Google. that's Linda Resnick from Palm Wonderful and Fiji Water and whatever. And me, what am I doing here? And he said, oh, you're the guest of honor. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I want you to talk on Friday about the transition of the music business from a distribution economy, get your record into Tower, get your record played on KSAN in San Francisco or Camel or whatever, to your music's now on Spotify, your music's now on Amazon. Now you just have to get people to lean in and pay attention. So again, I'm a bit intimidated by the crowd I'm in front of right now.
Well, I'm going to connect that right to the attention economy.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, fine. Otherwise, I'm going to shut up.
Well, I want to say thank you, Ted, because you were gracious to me. You may not even remember me, but over the years, I worked at Destiny. Ted was the guy that was always open for startups, no matter who you were. He'd have a conversation with you. If he could connect the dot and make a deal happen, the deal was going to happen. So kudos to you, brother. We just want to say thank you. No, and we are so happy to have you.
You know, it's funny, Toby. Again, I'm probably now into 15 minutes. But I've had people walk up to me. I had someone last year came up to me at a party and she said, you don't remember me, but I was at Sirius XM and you were the only guy from a label who wanted to talk to us. And I'm going, what are you, I mean, I was flattered that they said I was nice to them, but I was shocked saying, if I could get our music when I was at EMI played on Sirius XM all over the country, why wouldn't I want to do that? And they said people wouldn't talk to them. And then another woman walked up to me. I was at Verizon when we first started talking about streaming music on the phone, and everybody was scared to death of it. Phoebe Snow, at Pure Prairie League. What's his name used to come over and hang out in my living room. Craig Fuller from Pure Prairie League. And Lowell, I worked with Little Feat for years, Doc. I mean, this is great. We have to talk offline. I mean, my thing has always been an open door. Yeah, Craig Fuller produced Lowell. Yeah, replaced Lowell. Sorry. Craig Fuller was a great guy.
Thanks so much.
Tell me to shut up. Thank you.
Yeah, if this was an award ceremony, the music would have started playing. The orchestra would have started playing about 5 minutes ago. And I've got Debbie over here stressing, trying to keep us back on.
Just one thing, Ted.
And there was the time.
I have to contact you for my next live, because I always used to say my next live I will be musician. And I understand why you have tough time to present yourself, because there's so many things to talk about.
So I'm going to interject since they put it on me. And thank you, Ted, so much. This was a great talk. So now I guess we're going to move to engineering update. Balaji.
Thanks, Debbie. Happy Friday, everyone. We have quite a bit of progress on the engineering track. This week, we talked about the Build-A-Bot MVP internally. We have the initial scope discussion. Arcus Nexus team is able to produce some Figma images so we can visualize some of the things we are talking about in the MVP. So, and also we discussed some architectural options, how to go ahead and implement. So that part, we had discussions, and Sam was kind enough to publish a GitHub repository to give some look and feel what a Pi operating system might look like, in a sense, like what are these abilities, how can we publish these abilities and such. So feel free to visit that GitHub to start contributing there as well. On the volunteer front, personally met with 4 volunteers this week. We'll go through each one, what they're working on. Brian Rugasi was kind enough to introduce, again, I was talking to him about distributed computing. How can we as a community use community resources to train the model or to infer? So we are looking at some options there with Brian. Harish and is another volunteer who joined this week, and we talked about how we can augment some of the document extraction features, especially tables and such. Hector and Satyam, they are working on taking the Docker image that we have and how can we make it work on Mac systems? Hector had initial success making it run, but we're trying to make it work with GPU. So that's where we are this week. And last thing, we also met with Sync Labs this week, trying to figure out how to get some real-time lip sync with the talking face going.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Balaji. Community update. Carson, are you here?
Oh yeah, I'm here for sure.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'll be swift here. I'm just in my hotel room and packing for the airport, but really glad to be here with everybody. Doc, it's nice to see you. I'm glad that you're going to be hanging around with us. I look forward to talking to you more again. I saw Catherine here quite a bit. We talked about doing some podcasting stuff that we can do out of Kwaai. So that's my nudge from her to you. And then and Ted's great meeting you. Thank you so much for that discussion. That was I think your head is absolutely screwed on straight about where we are in this world right now. So, and that's what I want to reflect back. Where I've been and what I've been doing is I'm here in Seattle, excuse me, at the Open Source Summit, which is something that the Linux Foundation puts on. But really quickly, let me introduce myself to those who don't know me. My name is Karsten Wade, and I'm an open source strategist and a community architect, which means I help create communities that can scale from the smallest to the largest using open practices. And I just want to circle back and agree with Reza about how open projects are really just welcoming places that people flow in and out of. Once you get in, you never really leave the family. That was my experience this week. I connected with so many people I've worked with on projects over the years, and I was greeted as if I was had just been working with them yesterday, and we're all so that's one of my favorite things about this, and just how we are all there, just helping cross promote each other and helping show about the work that everybody's doing. And just an example, I talked with Jeremiah, who joined the community a few weeks ago. We'll see him more around, and he heard about this from Harish, and Harish is an old friend of mine. We worked together at Red Hat for a long time. It's just great. I love seeing, you see the faces coming back and around who care and matter about things. So in general, I'm working on our community efforts and seeing how I can help us all learn to help each other. I'm also going to be looking at how we appear as a project of potential open source AI users and contributors. So I'm going to be making a list of suggested changes and that kind of priority, and then just working through that list with everyone. So that's kind of a broad view of what I'm looking at ahead for community stuff for the next couple of weeks. So I'm just generally going to be around as a resource and active to help with open practices. And connect with any one-to-one discussions if anybody wants to talk with me, and I'll be reaching out to people just to talk about what's working for you, what you need, what strategies might help get things accomplished in whatever part of the project you're working on. And let's see, so here at the Open Source Summit, it's a trade association, a 501c6 that fosters a different kind of community, different kind of attention, because it's towards the trade members, a 501c3 like us that needs a wide base of support, very conducive for open source. And I was talking about Kwaai. One of the common questions I heard, people didn't know what personal AI meant. Right? There's not a common understanding. So I'll just give you a quick overview of what I found myself was saying. Personal AI is two things. From what we're doing at Kwaai is that we think about it as something we can create and a way to look at a problem. So working at AI from this person-forward, a human-centric approach to what AI means to people, and then we're creating the table and bringing the voices to it. So lots of experts, lots of earnest people wanting to make a difference. I'm finding that people are a mixture of curious and concerned. So I'd say that to other people, but that's what I'd say to folks, but I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing, curiosity and concern, right? And that's the consensus. And then I would tell folks about the three focuses of the project: AI fundamentals, policy, making the Kwaai OS, explain what I meant. I'd swap the order. So the last one was the point of discussion based on who I was talking to. So, I talked to a mathematics company, and AI fundamentals was the last point, and we talked about math, right? And in most cases, I would also talk about the Pi-Palooza, our hackathon, and just basically indicate how that's a way that we're looking to bring, the rubber meets the road, but also bringing the celebratory in response to this curiosity and concern. And I got lots and lots of interest and lots of connections and tons of things to follow up on from them too. So, I apologize. I'm a fast talker normally. I hope I was able to slow things down so it made sense. You can slow the recording later to 0.8 if you want to make sure to keep up. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, Karsten. That's great.
Thank you so much. Am I hallucinating, or did I see hands go up? I could have sworn I saw hands. No?
No, we can keep hands to the member voices section, maybe.
Okay. So marketing, Toby.
Yeah, Heinz, did you want to say something? I see your mic is off.
I was just in an open conversation with Ted. I hadn't seen him in a while, and wanted to say, hey Ted, and wanted to say hi to Doc and such. But hey, guy. But in regards to the hackathon, I'm going to wait for a moment for you to go a little further down the conversation and then share
Okay.
some.
All right. So I'm going to start with some marketing stuff, you guys. Obviously, we went out to the event, so we've had people in the field with Seattle and the Bay Area. So the process, as you know, is once we come back, we will need some help from you guys to kind of process the leads, move them over into the database. So I just want to let you guys know we'll be needing your help again. Appreciate your help last time and getting that done. I've been sending out consistent messaging through my LinkedIn. I've got a campaign going for Riza. I've got one going for Alan, and I'm going to queue up some more people that have volunteered. Carson as well. So we're all sending out messages, and we're all getting responses, whether it be for funding or for sponsorship of programs that we're kind of doing a call to action, which is mainly around the hackathon right now. And last week we gave you an update how Kwanzaa and the state of Georgia, just want to kind of rehash that. So we got Kwanzaa Hall, the state of Georgia, city of Atlanta, Georgia Tech, they're on board. So Atlanta's shaping up to be probably one of our strongest markets so far. Also, I just want to kind of go through, these are the people. So this week I spoke with Gordon Fuller from Fuller Vision, Dan Newman, AI Next, Ernest Sweat, Breakpoint Ventures, Drew G from Uber, Tiffany Boger from Accenture, Sam Kuber from Haywire, Zach Coelius from Coelius Ventures, Libby Tucker, Full Stack Remote, Scott Ling, Easy SaaS, Zika Lin, Responsibility Ventures, Jamal Kinney, Flip Tech, Sarob Shiva Dasit, Damco Solutions, Omar Alva, Shift Avenue, Kazi Kazal, Dreamwell AI, Mark Evans, Digital Hub, Health Hub, Satish Ramakrishnan, Holistic AI, Nathan Chandra, Roland Lifestyle, James Holmes, Oracle, Dimitri B, Digital Future Group, Carl Fieser, Lockheed Martin, Emily Wheatco, Hugging Face, Van Ripper, independent friend of mine who used to run Google Dev Group, Jay Holmes, Holmes Capital, Atul Sood, Tatiana Isa, Jamal Kinney, and Christian Hawley. I just want to say thank you to all of you guys for agreeing to support the hackathon and agreeing to support Kwaai in some way. I'm not going to go into what each one agreed to, but it's from everything from financial sponsorship of the event to prize sponsorships from VC firms to food sponsorships. So it's really been great. So I thank you to all you guys. I want to publicly say thank you to you, and I'll do this every week. As we get more people on board, I want to publicly say thank you to them, catch it in our weekly recordings. So the data is there. So later on, we'll have this data to use in the bot when our sponsors want to ask us about who participated, who was your previous sponsors in your last hackathon. And our Kwaai bot will be able to answer that. So thank you. Thank you, Karsten. Awesome. And just remember, we need to amplify. So I set up the LinkedIn event today. What I'd like to see is everybody every week maxing out that 900 person capability. We all have 900 invites for events on LinkedIn. If we do this, we will dramatically increase the visibility of the organization, of our weekly calls, of volunteers, donations. So just a reminder to amplify, amplify, amplify. If you haven't added Kwaai as a volunteer to your LinkedIn profile, we would appreciate that. That's another way that we can quantifiably show data to our sponsors and supporters of growth. So please remember, if you just add it just as a volunteer, that's fine. If you like a title, we have a Google Doc inside a Slack somewhere. If you need, just ping me, I'll get it to you. It has some titles you can take from. And just once again, amplify, amplify, amplify. We all have a network, and if we tap it, the best way of marketing is word of mouth. So please, let's share the good word. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Toby. So look, my funding and sponsorship update will be brief. Toby's been filling my my calendar with with meetings. You know, he's found a way of automating and activating my LinkedIn account, and so I'm just having back-to-back meetings with lots of people. It's interesting. There's no such thing as a bad meeting. You often find areas of alignment or areas where you're informing the other person or where you're learning. So this is great. What is resonating is the sponsorship program for hackathons. That is resonating really well. Some big opportunities. Our go-to-market, at least our tactic for getting the product to market. There is a product. In fact, why don't I, well, while I'm talking, just quickly present what we're talking about. So I'm going to share. Okay. So, what is personal AI? When I get that question, let's go back up. Right. When I get that question, what I do is while I'm talking, I'm presenting a bot. Okay. This is an example. It's a proof of concept. And when I'm talking, in fact, you can talk to this. You can ask this bot, what is Kwaai? And there are lots of different versions of this bot. There's one that is more like your tools of the trade. This is an FAQ bot. There's an author's bot as well, which is informed by the textbooks and writings of a particular author, Bruce Schneier, who asked for it. So our go-to-market would be via a beta program that would be in academia first. So our approach is to get universities to host the back end of the Kwaai bot, and this runs in a browser. So the audience would initially be a student body, and so the owners of each of the bots are all of the professors, and they can opt in. So we pitched this yesterday to Ruth's college, and they're all over it. They want to sign up for the beta. So our goal is for Q3, well, Q2, we're in Q2 now, we are developing the beta. That report that Balaji gave, we're going to get increasing progress reported on that. We're aiming to have a beta program. It'll be a closed beta in the quarter of Q3, and that'll be hosted in academia. We might have about 24 colleges. It could be even more. Colleges and universities hosting the back end and opening it up to allow their faculty to create bots that their students can access. Okay. And then in Q4, we will open it up for general availability. The broad idea is that in 1, 2, 3 clicks, you should be able to create a bot. So there'll be a button over here, build a bear, no, build a bot button, where you'd be able to create your own AI. And 1 click, what does it look like? 2nd click, what does it sound like? 3rd click, what is the knowledge base that it's informed by? And we will do all the rest. All the magic will happen in the background. There'll be DevOps recipes that'll be crafted so that you can run it in a virtual private cloud, in a multi-tenant facility, or in your local infrastructure. So all of that is the magic that the engineers are working on at the moment. But the idea is, imagine you had a personal assistant that knows you, that you can talk to, that makes you a better you. Now, that's empowering. Now you can entitle third parties to access that as well. You can, maybe it's your student body. While they're on your course, they can access your course curriculum. Or maybe it's your fans. Maybe they want to read your books or ask questions of your books. So this is exciting. I'm not going to give you the demo now because we're going to keep on track. I'm going to stop presenting, and I think we move over to hear member voices.
Give me 1 second.
Great. So we've got a number of newcomers that haven't spoken yet. We'd love to use the remainder of our hour to hear from member voices. So put your hand up and we'll call on you. And even if you don't put your hand up, we're going to call on you. So let's go through the list here. I see a hand up. Matt Simpson. Hey, come on down.
Hi guys, can you hear me okay?
It's a bit echoey. It's a bit loud.
Yeah, I seem to have this issue with Firefox and Google Meet, so I'm going to go to the or to use a Cohen-based browser.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Matt Simpson. I am the director of IT here at Queen's Health Sciences at Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, Canada. And I've really enjoyed the meeting today. Thanks so much for the invitation, Reza. And I'm looking forward to learning more about the community and figuring out ways that I can be helpful. This is definitely up my alley, personal AI. Developed by people that are passionate about open source and open community and open standards.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much, Matt. Yeah, your microphone does garble it up, but look, I think we got the gist of it. And thanks so much for inviting some other members who've also joined. I looked very recently. We had some new signups from folks saying, "Hey, Matt Simpson sent us." So thank you so much. Who else?
I believe we have, I apologize if I say your name incorrectly. Gautam?
Hey, this is, Davin is my first name. And
I apologize.
That's fine. So I think I already introduced, but yeah, I can introduce again. So hi, everyone. This is Davin Gautam. I'm a software developer, mostly focused in Java and AWS. I think this is my third week. I really enjoying listening now. Like I'm not actively involving in any algorithm, but in the future, once I speed up, I want to support our architecture team in any possible way. That's it. Thank you for inviting on this new journey. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call on people if you don't, because you know who you are, you know you're new to the call, and put your hand up, and let me start hitting on people. Steve Vitka, not known for being quiet. Steve, you need to introduce yourself. There he is.
All right, I'm doing it. I'll give a full introduction after I get my head together, but I'm, kind of here to be a pain in the ass. So that's it.
Excellent.
Over and out. I got to go do some shit.
Okay, Steve is an advocate for the user, and we need that. We need we've got a lot of technologists and people that want to talk about what's in the stack and what's in the back end. Who's the advocate for the user? And so we need that voice. Thanks so much. Who else? I'm going to call on you. You know I am. There we go. Mike Grossman. You're muted. Let's go.
Hi all. How are you doing? I'm glad to be here. I'm introduced to Kwaai by Reza's visit to VRM Day earlier this week, and I am another user advocate. I come out of the print world, the legacy media, recovering magazine maker, as I like to say, and I'm, there are a lot of things to love about this new technology. I think about what, Ted said about the Chicken Little reaction to so many technologies when they're introduced by creators. And, I've never felt that way about digital technology as compared to print. And, but, I do think that there's this confiscatory surveillance, I think of it as, that's going on, that is something we do need to fight. And my print life was about making ideas accessible to people in supermarket checkout lines occasionally, or at newsstands, and I want to make the ideas that we're talking about enliven the feelings of average citizens out there who are non-technologists, and get this to be more of a movement. So that's me.
Thanks so much, Michael. Michael, I see you've not signed up yet. If you like what you heard today, please go to the website and sign up.
I just signed up.
Oh,
I hope I'm in your queue. Just before I came to the meeting.
Interesting. Okay. I wonder where that went. Okay. Thanks so much. Osman Click. You've not spoken. No. Okay. Well, anyone else that wants to have the last few words, or I can wrap up. We've got a hackathon straight after this. If someone can post the link in here to the hackathon for those that have not seen it, that would be great as well. Excellent. Well, happy Kwaai Day, everybody. I hope you're going to have a great weekend. There is the hackathon straight after this. It's a hackathon. We hack ideas in it. We're typically not coding. Sometimes we are coding, but this is an opportunity for idea exchange. And this week has been a very, very exhilarating week. We came back exhausted and exhilarated from the IIW conference. And okay, Usman's raised his hand. Usman, you get the final word. Okay, you'd have to unmute your microphone and speak.
Hello.
A bit louder, that'd be great. Okay, Usman, maybe next time. Thank you very much. Right, so we are, it's been an exhilarating week. We've had attendance at the Seattle conference, as Carsten reported, and we're going to be coming back. We're going to be following up with that, with all the leads that Carsten's generated. And similarly, we met lots of people at the IIW conference and Project VRM. Lots of follow-up, lots of sponsorship opportunities, lots of areas for collaboration, and a growing movement. Hello, Usman. Usman, maybe next week we're wrapping up the call now. Maybe you can say hi next week. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay, so we're gonna hop onto the hackathon call. Happy Kwaai Day, everybody.
Happy
Have a good
Kwaai
weekend.
Day.
If we don't
I'm not an organizer on the meeting, so I can't. I have it queued up, but
okay, I will.
Well, we just put the link for the hackathon. You added it, correct?
yeah. I'm just talking about the host. I'm not a host. Can you make me a host?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Bye, everyone. Cheers.
Bye.
Wait.